Let's do this. Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm Bruce McCurdy of the Edmonton Journal's Cult of Hockey, and I'm here tonight with my colleague Kurt Leavins from windy, blustery Pender Island, British Columbia. This is take two for us because Kurt experienced a power outage during our first attempt, but we're going to just start again. We're just really getting rolling, so we're just going to start again from the beginning. Hello, Kurt.
Hello. My wife often says that I spend half my life in the dark, and this is the proof of it. So.
You on a backup generator or something there?
I am, yes.
Right on. Well, at least we're smiling tonight after a few up and downs in a game, frankly dominated by the hometown Edmonton Oilers. That the better team did in fact win, even as it took a couple of minutes overtime to finally establish their dominance 4-3 over a feisty New York Islanders team. As usual, we're going to have two good things, two bad things, and two numbers as the core of our podcast. And as also usual, we're going to start off with the good things. So, Kurt, I'm interested to hear what your takeaway is.
It doesn't seem that long ago I was talking about that rough game that Evan Bouchard was, where he was directly involved in 2 goals against and fired 4 pucks into the shin pads of forecheckers, and half of oil country seemed to want to put him on waivers. Well, here we are a few nights later.
Unforgiving crew, aren't we?
We're tough, man, I tell you. But tonight Evan Bouchard was the Evan Bouchard that you want to have in your team. 5-on-5 CF 39-14.
Wow.
Scoring chances for 5-on-5 19-5. High dangers 9-1.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, goal, 2 assists, 3 points, 8 shots, 3 blocks, 24-35 of ice time, and I thought a super smart play in overtime to help set up the winning goal. On the winning goal, they had just finished a dominating shift, and the Oilers had really kept it in the Islanders' end most of the time, and the 3 Islanders couldn't get off the ice. They were dead tired. Nugent Hopkins, to his credit, recognized this, dumped the puck off to Bouchard, and headed off for the bench. Initially, I wasn't sure what Evan was going to do with the puck. I thought maybe he was going to dump it in the corner and go change himself. Thankfully, he picked his head up and looked around him, read the situation, clearly understood there was 3 tired defenders on the ice, and then walked the blue line from left to right, taking up a few valuable seconds, during which time Leon Draisaitl and Conor McDavid jumped on the ice. Draisaitl, a few pumping strides to the left, headed for the net. Then Bouchard slid the puck over to McDavid, the pass across, the game over. Evan finishes the night with a real heady play. Yes, he gained the assist, but I would argue that goal didn't get scored without him. And considering the offensive night he had, the Oilers probably didn't win this one without him as well. He was maybe not the best Oiler on the ice, but he was very good indeed.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, in goal and 2 assists. I mean, you mentioned his 5-on-5 stats, and I'm going to add 2 more. An assist on the 5-on-4 power play and an assist on the 3-on-3 game-winning goal, neither of which even shows up in the 5-on-5 stats.
Yep.
So that's good performance in, I won't say all situations, but several different manpower situations. And I thought on that play, I thought he might just sort of take it out into the neutral zone to regroup while they were making the line changes. But as you say, he read perfectly that the 3 Islanders defenders, they were kind of all parallel to each other at the face-off dots. And Evan had the puck out near the blue line. And he thought, come and get me until you do. I can hang on to it. And I have to say, in addition to a smart play by Bouchard, that was a very, very smart play by all of Matthias Ekholm, Zach Hyman, Ryan Nugent Hopkins, The
Yep.
prior shift that had the pressure on and the puck in New York territory constantly, and they executed basically the perfect line change. Like we're
Mhm.
in our scoring chance project, we're always on the lookout for bad line changes. It's one of the worst codes that we give is a bad line change against. We don't really have one for good line change, but if we did, I'd be giving out three of them. As it is, I did give credit for contributing to the goal to the three guys that were on the bench because they contributed to the possession that resulted in that goal. And Ekholm hustled to the bench early. That's how Bush got out there. And then Nugent Hopkins sort of read the situation. I thought, I'm going to give it to Bush and get off to the bench. And at the same time, Hyman came in the back door and out come, 97 and 29 and puck in the offensive zone on two's stick and all's well with the world. And they quickly proved that.
Yeah, when
So
you
just
think
a
about
great
it,
way to end the game.
when you think about it, there's not too many 3-on-3 overtime goals where 6 players have a key
That's
role
right.
in the goal.
That's right. Yeah. Not many goals, period, where we give away quite that many credits, but with only 3 guys on, legally on the ice at one time, it's kind of extraordinary, but I think it's a fair way to score it. I really do. So
100%, I agree.
anyway, great night for Bouchard. Certainly offensively, as you say, 8 shots on net and a couple of lethal shots that didn't go in, eh?
Mm-hmm.
And Elias Sorokin in the Islanders net was on fire. And the only reason that this game wasn't, a laugher like Saturdays in Vancouver, Edmonton was by far the better team. By our counts, Edmonton had 26 grade A shots to 10. And our 5 alarm shots, the most dangerous one, this is my preliminary count. We have to go through them again, but I had a 15-2 for Edmonton, with 2 being the only 2 being the 2 goals that tied it for the Islanders in the third, with a couple of less than stellar defensive plays that we'll get into in a moment. But Edmonton was forcing, and Sorokin was making all kinds of. Man, can that guy ever seal the ice? He's got his pads up off the ice in the V. And the shooters keep thinking, if I fire it right along the ice, he can't get down there. And he just gets his pads down and he seals the ice right off. He did it over and over again. He robbed Hyman, he robbed Bouchard, he robbed McDavid, where, they were so close. And I thought, 5-hole, boom. And
yeah,
boom didn't work.
Give it and take it away, right?
Yeah. And so his control of his legs, outstanding. And he really put on a fine show. And Oilers still found a way to beat him 4 times. So this is good news.
I'll say 2 of those were fantastic shots by Leon Draisaitl. It's not like easy ones went by him tonight. I think his teammates should, as they say in Slapshot, feel shame.
Yeah, well, they were quite short-handed, and I'm pretty sure they're happy to get out of Dodge with a point.
Yeah.
And obviously they'd like to steal the second one, but coming from 3-1 down in the last half of the third period to get anything at all is put a little wind in their sails, and whatever. It doesn't matter to me if the Eastern team walks away with 1 point as long as the Oilers get 2.
Yeah, I was pleased to see Sorokin be given 3rd star. I thought that was well deserved.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, even though Bush got robbed, Edmonton's 3 offensive stars were really firing on all cylinders tonight, with scoring all 4 of the goals among the 3 of them. McDavid 1, 3, and 4. Draisaitl 2 goals, and Bush 1, 2, and 3. And they are, I think, without doubt, Edmonton's top 3 offensive players, even as some would argue for Hyman.
Yep, no, I'm with you.
Anyways, I'm going to pick out one of those stars, Conor McDavid. Rightfully
what did
named
he do?
first star of this game. I think it's his first star performance of the season. And he's been kind of like last year, the first 10 games or so, he had an injury in there, and he was really sort of feeling his way around for the first month or so. And this year, much the same. Well, he exploded now with 3 points in Vancouver on Saturday, now 4 points in Edmonton on Tuesday to get to 999 in his illustrious career. Hopefully he'll hit the milestone on Thursday at home against Nashville before they head out east. But tonight, he had the puck on a string and created all kinds of scoring chances. He himself had, some number here, 8 shots on net. and 14 shot attempts. And there were times where I was thinking he should have shot instead of passed, but boy, some of those passes worked out pretty good too. I mean, great pass to Leon on the first goal. Fabulous. I love the little through pass he made to Bouchard right at the edge of the crease late in the third period. That was, on the rush, and he found a way to just tuck it through the D and find Bouchard streaking for the net. Just setting up glorious chances left and right. We had him involved in how many scoring chances? Just a ridiculous number. Can this possibly be right? 17.
I believe it.
17 at even strength, 2 on the power play, and I think none at all against on 97 tonight. So now these are our preliminary counts by me, and I tend to be slightly more generous. David will go through them, and he'll probably prune 1 or 2 of those away, but it'll be way high in the double digits. I mean, most of these are, there won't be any argument about whether it was a chance, and there certainly won't be any argument as to whether McDavid was involved in the sequence, because he was all over it, and fully deserving of the 4 points. And as they were saying on radio broadcasts and TV broadcasts as well, that he could have easily had more.
Yeah, for
4,
sure.
if it wasn't for the the stellar net minding. And this was a night where Edmonton outshot New York 42-22. And they were just in the ascendant for much of the game, and 97 was driving a lot of that, and a lot, Draisaitl pounded home those 2 great shots, and Bouchard, as you say, had that great game, and it was Edmonton's game to win, and finally they won it.
As I was watching the game unfold, I was thinking, I've seen another great Edmonton player have a big night like this when he was so close to a milestone. And I think he very right. I think he very easily could have eclipsed that tonight. He came within a point, obviously.
So. Well, the great one on the night he got his 1000th point. By the time the night was done, he had 1,005. He had a 6-point night, so he had already had a sort of a down payment on the second 1,000.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't compare anyone to him. Not with the incredible talent, genius that he had, but also the depth of great teammates, and just the era that he played in was so much more offense that it's as I said to David last podcast, we in Edmonton, in our 45 years in the NHL, have enjoyed the best offensive player of the 20th century, and now we're enjoying the best offensive player of the 21st century. And evidence to the contrary, we don't have a whole lot to complain about.
Yeah, for sure. I certainly thought it was his best game of the season, and I loved his post-game quote. I don't know if you caught his post-game quote. It was, "It's nights like this, I don't want to come off the ice."
Excellent.
And I thought Chris Knobloch, I think, recognized that, because it felt like McDavid, I don't know if he actually was, but it felt like he was out there every other shift.
Knobloch said that he didn't play enough in the first 2 periods, and he got him out more in the third. And he only played like 20-55, which is, standard fare for him, especially in a game that, goes a couple extra minutes.
2 shifts in overtime, yeah.
Yeah, but he...
felt like he was out there half the game.
Yeah, I'm just going to look that up right now since we got it. 97, you're way at the bottom of this list. He played by period, 6:15 in the first, 5:49 in the second, 8:02 in the third.
Yeah.
So, he played at least a couple extra minutes in the third, and then, a minute or so in overtime as well to reach his night's total, but he was on top of it.
Yep, he was Conor McDavid tonight.
Yeah, he was all of that, Kurt. So We do have to take a moment to find a couple things to complain about, namely our bad things. We got one each. Again, I'll let you take the lead. What's your bad thing from this game?
My bad thing is that this game didn't end 3-1 or 4-1. And it's a niggly worry that I have with this team. I've had it since game one, and I haven't seen much yet to make that niggly feeling go away. Where they have not shown the strength of being able to lock a game down when they've got it under control, which they totally did tonight. They were up 3-1, fully deserving of the 3-1 lead. As you said earlier, it probably should have been 5 or 6-1. But the Islanders goaltender played great. But then, the two, especially the 3-2 goal. I didn't mind the 3-3 quite as much, but the 3-2 goal was just a defensive breakdown by pretty much everybody on the ice. And it's like, man, bear the hell down. Mm-hmm. I think is what I said out loud after the 3-2 goal. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I know we're not 20 games into the season yet, but this is the time to start to close those games out. And because the Oilers had to push that much further, that's another gallon of gas they've burned that they're not going to have later on in the year. I always say that, closing games out it's like a credit card. You can borrow that credit card all you like, but at some point you got to pay it back.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And blowing leads and having to go to overtime to win games is exciting and all, but in the long run, it's going to add up and it's going to bite you in the behind. And so, well, I don't want to go on about this too long because overall they played a really good game tonight and deserved to win. But damn it shouldn't have been an overtime game. It should have ended 3-1, 4-1 with an empty net goal. I just think these guys need to learn how to bear down and close a game out. And I haven't seen them do that much yet.
Well, this is the third time this season that they've had a lead in the third period at home and they weren't able to close one out. They were up 2-0 on Carolina, you might recall. And Carolina just wouldn't go away, and they wound up tying it and then winning it in overtime. So the Oilers got 1 point from that. Worst was the Vegas game where they didn't get to overtime after giving up a power play goal to tie it midway in the third, and then just a horrendous defensive breakdown in the final minute of play to give up the game winner to a division rival. I'm still pissed off about that game a week later. It's going to loom large over things like, home ice advantage for the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I'm going to think of those several points that got away head-to-head against Vegas. And now tonight, 3-1 against an injury-riddled team that's, marginal contender, I would say, at best. Like the Oilers are, frankly, a better team than New York Islanders when both are healthy. Mm-hmm. New York's not healthy right now. They're missing Matthew Barzal, missing, I think, 4 other regulars.
Yes.
And the Oilers, they had quite a few shifts in there where they were doing everything fine. But, man, just a couple of breakdowns and the one goal, the one that had you upset, Jeff Skinner, my goodness, he just got taken to town on that. The guy walked right around him, and he got neither the puck nor the man.
Nor a piece of him.
Nor any piece of him. And Dobson came out the other side. Was it Dobson? No, it was Pulak who came out the other side and fired the low, hard shot that forced the rebound. And the other defenders weren't really in position to handle that. And the rebound got pounded into the net. So my bad thing, just to add on to yours, is specifically the tying goal where, again, they're mostly in control. They had shifts in New York's end, but the puck came into Edmonton's end, and Ekholm pounded it down the ice for an icing. And Islanders coach Patrick Roy pulled the netminder with, was it 2:47 to play, and it took 7 seconds, and the damn puck was in the net, and the game was tied.
Pulling the game early is his MO, eh?
Yeah. He was one of the pioneers in that in his earlier coaching career. I would give him credit. He kept his composure. You could see he was wanting to boil over and didn't. So he's clearly calming down a little bit finally. And later in life. because he would have been a volcano,
Oh, it would have been
especially
purple.
after the 3-1 goal where McDavid. You can make a very strong case that he tripped the New York defender to gain possession of the puck that led to his goal that made it 3-1. Anyway, on that 3-3, it was a clean face-off loss by Henrique. A pass along the ice to the outside, and the two D-men who had such a strong game offensively, Bouchard and Ekholm, they just both got worked. Bouchard allowed the centering pass into the right in front of the crease, and for whatever reason, whether Ekholm lost his balance, I don't know what he was trying to do. He was like down, stick was on the ice, like the shaft of his stick was on the ice, but he was not in position to contest the man or really get in the way of the shot. And the guy, Anders Lee, who's only scored about 200 goals from this spot, slammed it in from just outside the edge of the crease, and it seemed like for 7 seconds after pulling your goalie, that's not a lot of defensive resistance. So I wasn't real happy in that moment, but that was for me the bad moment of the game.
And un-Ekholm-like play. I remember thinking that when it happened, right? So.
Yep. Yeah, he's playing a lot, and I think he's probably a little bit tired, 34 years old. He made a mistake in that 60th minute goal against, they both did, in that 60th minute goal against Vegas last week. At least this one didn't cost him 2 points, and in the end it didn't cost him any points. So we can give them a little bit of grace, but they got beat there.
Yeah, that Vegas game, both of them are up 24 plus minutes too, right? So it's I buy what you're selling. It's like they've
been leaning hard on Ek in particular.
Yeah, especially not 20 games into the season. You can I understand if you're in the Stanley Cup playoffs and you're playing that guy every other shift, but.
So let's move on then to our numbers. And again, Kurt, you have the lead.
Yes, offensively, really a dominant performance by the Oilers tonight. If you just look at the final score, you'd be forgiven for thinking this game was closer than it actually was on the ice. When I was looking at Natural Stat Trick's high danger scoring chances 5-on-5, they were 15-2 for the Oilers, including 7-0 in the third period, and it was 3-0 in the overtime frame. So when you look at those numbers alone, which are the most dangerous of dangerous chances, the Oilers were clearly all over the Islanders tonight, and it really was only a Sorokin away from it being a 6 or 7-1 game. And I think I mentioned earlier that Sorokin got the game's third star, and certainly deservedly so. Absolutely did. He was tremendous. But when you really look at the numbers, this club looks like it has found its offensive mojo. That's 2 games in a row where they really looked like they were feeling it.
Right on. Well, I'm going to go with the number 2. Or shall we say the number 3? This is the dividing line between success and failure for the Edmonton Oilers. When they score 2 goals in a game this year, which they've done 8 times already, 6 of those times at home, when they score 2 goals or fewer in a game, they lose that game. So they are 0-7-1 when they score 2 goals or fewer. 0-7-1. They got the 1 point against Carolina when they lost from a 2-0 lead. And the other games they've lost, they've been shut out a couple times. They've been beat, 3-2, 5-2, various scores to 2. They got beat 4-1. They got beat 6-1. And when they score more than 2, even as few as 3, like they got in Detroit in an overtime win there, but 3 plus goals for, the Oilers are 8-0-0. So 8-0 when scoring 3 or more, 0-8 when scoring 2 or fewer. So I think that's kind of establishing itself as this year's magic number. They say it's a 3-2 lead, and I, for one, would rather have the 3 than the 2. What about you?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And you and I earlier were talking about the goaltenders tonight, and certainly how good Sorokin was. And I think that's you that made the comment, and I agreed. I really didn't blame Skinner on any of the 3 goals against. They're all legitimate goals. But when you see the other guy trying to pitch a shutout at the other end, right? It's like, can we just get one of those?
Yeah.
And then it's a 3-2 regulation win, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, because Skinner's taking his lumps online yet again. And it kind of annoys me, Kurt, to tell the truth. I mean, I'm an Oilers fan. I take no joy in tearing apart players who play for the Oilers. I mean, if they deserve it, and I feel obliged to tear them apart, but they're piling on the young goalie, who, lest we forget, took Edmonton to the 7th game of the Stanley Cup Finals last year. He won 5 elimination games in a row and lost the 6th one 2-1. And who outdueled star goaltender Jake Ottinger. There was no elimination games against Dallas from the Oilers' perspective, because they won the last 3 to win the series in 6, and Skinner was brilliant in that series. And Game 6, it was incredible. It was one of the great goalie steals that I've seen in a long time. And yet it all seems to be forgotten. And it's like, what have you done for me this week? Yeah. And seeing comments like, Stu Skinner is not an NHL goalie, I mean, that doesn't just annoy me, it pisses me off. Yeah. He is an NHL goalie. He plays for our Edmonton Oilers. Quit piling on the poor guy. Yeah. Right? He's fighting through it. He will fight through it. His record is he gets better as the season goes along. He's got a long record of getting better as playoff series go along. And it's November, and he's finding his game. And he found a way to win this one. So...
And at the end of the day, I think if we judge the great Grant Fuhr by his goals against average and his save percentage, he wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. But what did he do? He won. Yeah. Right? And I don't discount that.
Right. Yeah. Anyways, he was another goalie, local goalie that grew up around here playing hockey, wanting to play for the Edmonton Oilers, and he wound up doing it and living the dream. Stu Skinner is doing that same thing right now, and I, for one, prefer to live vicariously with successes rather than constantly harping on this or that. Yeah. That every goal that goes in is more proof that the goalie's no good and the goalie coach should be fired. Let's not forget that part.
That's still out there, man.
They ain't never going away until the goalie coach does, and then they'll probably just get on the next one.
Too funny.
So anyway, we can laugh a little bit tonight because we know how this one ended happily with 2 points in the bank and some epic performances by some of our favorites. So
yeah, Nashville up next, who we normally beat for fun, right? So
yeah, I remember Nashville coming in here when we said that last year and clipping Oilers 5-2 around game 10 last year. After Edmonton, I think, had already beaten them in Nashville. In fact, they'd pounded them.
Yeah, that's right.
6-1 in Nashville. Jack Campbell's only win of the year. I remember it. I think it was game 3, and then Nashville came in. Oh yeah, here's a team we should. So never take any opponent lightly. This is rule number 1.
It's a good lead,
and I don't think they will.
No.
I think they're mature enough now and they know, basically where the Oilers are right now is they need a nice winning streak, 5-game winning streak would do it, or 8 out of 10. That would get them from being sort of scrambling at the sort of very bottom of the playoff pack to in a comfortable position that they can build on. And I mean, we'll see. We're 2 games into a winning streak at this point, but so far this year, they've never got the 3rd one.
Yeah.
They've had 4 2-game winning streaks.
And as much as there's been a lot of hand-wringing going on, the hole is not as deep as it was last year.
Not close.
Right. I know it felt like it at times, but not close. You're right.
So, all right. Well, I think we kind of covered everything, unless you have some final remarks or takeaways from this effort tonight, Kurt.
I'd look up some other remarkable stat, but my computers are all dark, and my head is empty, as it is on most days, I think.
Well, you've done a pretty good job without the stats ready to hand there tonight, and excellent recap, in particular of Bouchard's performance tonight. So, anyways, I think with that, we'll say thank you very much for filling in short notice as you did tonight. And always a pleasure to talk to you, Kurt.
Yeah, I feel the same way, Bruce. Great to see you.
Right. So thanks very much for chipping in, and thanks to you, the listeners, for listening. And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.